Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, wherever you are on this wonderful morning. I am Jay Lawrence. I am your tour guide, as well as I am your humble host. This is the Insiders Only Club, and this is the IOC Daily Edge. And we bring you this because we know that you're worth it. What do I mean? We know that there are certain things that have been kept from you relative to you being able to outpace, the competition. And who is the competition? One of my favorite things is to focus on the competition as being, they, right? And let's kind of focus on this. Like there is really a they, right? And the they are the individuals. And again, when we talk about they, it is the capital T, capital H, capital E, capital Y. They're the ones that, when it comes down to it, if you feel as if that your the majority of your life, professional life, and sometimes your personal life has been a series of headwinds. Like you're ready to go, you're out there, running, and you're kind of doing it, but every time you look up, you look behind you to see how much progress that you actually made, and the progress is not as much as you believe you should have made based on the effort that you put in. So we're here to help you. Let's say if I'm going to use an aeronautics metaphor here, we want you to be able to cut through the wind, right? We want you to be so aerodynamic in the way that you approach every single day that you're not hiding from it. It's just that the wind decides that it's going to actually go around you, right? You're doing things in your life that is so additive to your success that on a daily basis, you feel and you know that wind that used to be a headwind, over time, it becomes a tailwind. This is the Insiders Only Club. This is the reason why we want you to pour into what we're doing. Join the community around other super smart people doing really super smart things, activating around the things that you know for a fact are going to help you take game next level. It is like, let me say this: nothing else matters in your life except you learning, right, through a series of well documented, very, very focused education. I mean, they're classes, they're courses, but we like to look at them and we consider them to be like master classes. Why? Because a master class is going to get you exactly what you need in a timely fashion, so you can actually take step and another step and another step, and the steps that you're taking are so sort of foundational to your success. Then when you look back, you're like, wow, I've stacked a lot of knowledge. And now, what do we see all the time? Knowledge is the only thing you can monetize. I say it. I want I want somebody to go into the chat at wherever you are, whether you're Facebook or IG, or if you're on YouTube. We're on X, and where else are we? That's enough, right? Like, oh, we're also publishing directly to our site. So again, if you ever want to know what this is, take the time, go to insidersonly.club, right? We're here for you. But let's get back to what today's real focal point is going to be, right? I sat and I said, what can I help people do that is so additive to their lives that if you are somebody who has never considered this term, defining your best buyer. Again, it's so funny. Like people will think about the business that they're running, or the business that they want to run, or the company that they're working with, right? And many times we haven't been able to dial in exactly the individual that you need to actually be in front of on a consistent basis, so you can hone your skills and working directly with your best buyer, right? See, some people call this like developing an archetype or an avatar, right? However you want to frame it, right? These are the things that we know. Like the best buyer of your stuff, right? Stuff could be your product, a service. It could be you as a coach, a consultant. It could be you as a doctor. It could be you as a scientist. It could be you as an auto mechanic. It could be you as I don't know if you're in the green industry, right? The sustainability industry, everybody has a best buyer. And let me peel it back a little bit. Here's why it's so important. A best buyer shows up wherever you need them to be. So get this. It's clear that if you're an entrepreneur, right, and you're running your own company and you've got some team members and you guys are doing some things, and you've been able to sort of have a great product or a great service, and you have a funnel, and you're trying to attract the individuals that are going to actually swipe the credit card or pay for your event, whatever it happens to be, pay for your widgets, right? The thing is that most times what we're doing is we're kind of hoping and praying that we're going to attract the right customer or client or member, right? When quite frankly, it really starts with understanding exactly like what are the elements of somebody who is your best buyer. And so the best buyer, and for an entrepreneur, and I'm going to go through three different components to this, right? So you have somebody who's a real entrepreneur, right? Like they've got the business, they've been established, 2 or 3, 4, 5, 10 years, whatever the period has been. They're in it to win it. They're not working for someone else. They're working for themselves. They may have employees, W-2, 1099, or partners, right? K1 distribution. Again, I mentioned that some of these things, if you're not familiar with the difference between a W-2, a 1099, and a K1, you absolutely should be signing up for the Insiders Only .club. Go there, go to the bottom of the screen. You're going to see a free tier. If you can't afford it, go free. All right. So back to the regular scheduled show. Here's what's happening. When you know your best buyer as an entrepreneur, the best buyer should, by definition, that should be someone who is obviously one, right? They know the actual product or service that you've sold them. Number one. Number two, they should be using it as if it's part of and it's integrated into their overall success, like their daily success. A component of their success should be your product and or your service. Now, let me share this thing with you. If you're pure retail and you're selling, rings or, chains or whatever that is, right? Diamond, whatever you're doing, right? Fine. That necessarily won't be like the thing that's going to get somebody over the top. But if you're selling something to someone and the thing that you're selling them, you've persuaded them, right? We talked about that before, Robert Cialdini, the Cialdini method, right? So influence, persuasion, and persuasion. The persuasion is that you've given them this aha moment around, this is what I can wear. This makes me feel better. Now, in that sense, can a product make somebody feel so good that it becomes additive to the success of their day? Yes, because it's going to affect their mindset, right? It's going to affect their energy. And we know we're energetic beings. This is who we are. So do you need to have somebody in your life that is going to be, I don't know, giving you things that's going to make you feel better? Yes, you do need somebody in your life. That's you. You need to be able to step up and give yourself things. So if in fact we're talking about an entrepreneur who actually is selling something, right? And if you're selling something and you know that the individuals who receive your product or service, that they're going to be better for it in their lives, that would be the second component, right? You want them to know that the things that you're bringing them is additive to their lives. That's number two. Number three, this is super important. You see, a best buyer is somebody who is willing to and feels compelled to be an evangelist for your brand. Like, what is an evangelist? So, if you go to Google it, or if you're using your GPTs, whatever, you're going to know that sometimes the word evangelist is even blocked when you Google, well, at least when you GPT it, right? Why? Because it's associated with somebody being such a true believer, right? That they believe in something, that they will go to these extended heights to actually share the story, share the product, share the service. They're getting such a benefit from it that they're like, oh my God, I have to tell people about this thing. That will be the third component. That, like, you have to earn your way as an entrepreneur or solopreneur or corporate side hustler or wherever you are, or if you're working for somebody, you have to earn your way. If you're a salesperson working for somebody, you have to earn your way to the point where somebody would, on their own volition, meaning they'll do it on their own. They will step up, and what they will do, they will evangelize your product and your service, and they will always attribute that good feeling to you. That was number three. When you master the art of evangelism, right? This takes your professional life to the next level. Why? Because these are better than referrals. See, referrals are people who would say, hey, yeah, oh, yeah, somebody asked them a question about something that's in the realm of your product or service. And they say, oh, yeah, try this widget over here or try that service over there. That's great, right? Though, like, but people get stuck in, I just want to have a referral network. I'm going to tell you, the referral network can actually be a trap. We're not going to go there today. We'll talk about that in another one of our Daily Edge sessions, okay? But for today, the best buyer, right? So if the best buyer is an evangelist for you, winning, winning, winning. But there's another level. There's level 4. Level 4 is the individual who actually begins to create a community around your brand. Let me say this. This can be done in many ways, but somebody who creates a community around your brand means that they're taking ownership for the success of your brand. These individuals may not be on your staff, right? They're actually giving you money so they can have your product, but they believe in it, and you've persuaded them, and they have their own influence inside this product and or service, which is really you, right? So much so that they decide to get a bunch of other people just like them because they know that there's a tribe out there that uses this product or service, and they feel so compelled that they now want to create a community around it. That's number 4. When you get to the community building aspect of this thing, where people take ownership for it, this is when you know that the original idea that you had, whether you were somebody who is working for someone else, and now you've taken that business to the next level because of your sales acumen, because of your marketing prowess, because of all of these things that you actually bring to the table. And thus then you've been additive to the company that you're working for. And now you've been that individual. It's almost like you sowed enough seeds, right? You planted them, and thus then you've cultivated them and watered them. You're giving it all the sun and all the nutrients that they need. And guess what? Now all of a sudden this community is popping up around you because you're the one who did the right work. Now, when you're at number 4, I don't care if you're working for, name the Fortune 500 company or name your individual idea, because right now you're sitting inside your corporate cubicle, but you're thinking about, you know what? I can really do something with this. I can take an idea and I can grow this thing. That we call those corporate side hustlers. Do me a favor. If you're a corporate side hustler, don't be afraid. I need you to go in the chat and just say, hey, I'm a corporate side hustler, and I'm going to be transitioning from corporate side hustler to solopreneur. Corporate side hustlers, we want you to be solopreneurs. But for right now, if you're a corporate side hustler, it will be corp side hustler. We want to know who you are. Okay. Let's move to number 5, because again, there's levels to this thing, right? So I talked about, the best buyer. First off, identifying who that individual is. But before we can even do that, I wanted you guys to understand, like, the best buyer is the measure of which that you can stake your success in your business endeavor by understanding exactly like what you want the best buyer to actually be giving you and doing for you. Again, you give them, right, all of the knowledge, you give them the inspiration to take that next step, acquire that product or that service. You're giving them the type of, now that they have it, coaching. Oh, you guys didn't know that's part of the thing. You can't just like sell somebody something and go move on to the next. So anybody who is in the space where you're in the business of selling someone something and then pivoting to the next sale, we need to stop that. We need to think about ways where we can strategically continue to be involved in the discourse with that individual, so they can actually know that they didn't just buy something and now they have to figure it out. This isn't good. It will always lead to churn. What is churn? Churn is when you sell someone something, you sell someone something, you sell someone something, and then they stop. Particularly if it's a subscription, they actually drop off your subscriber base, right? Primarily because for whatever the reason, in their minds, they do not believe that they're getting equal value of which when they originally thought that when they bought your product or subscribed to your thing, some point they decided, you know, it's not worth it. I don't think I'm getting the right value. I'm not getting enough out of this thing. Now, in those situations, right, it's up to you to course correct. It's not on them, it's on you. Like, you should be the individual that as soon as somebody buys from you, it should be more than just a single email of thank you, right? It should be more than just a text. You need to put all of the people that you sell to, you need to put them inside of your CRM database, just on your iPhone, whatever it is. There are plenty of apps that will help you stay on top of the communication to all the people that you are in contact with. And listen, we're not farmers here, right? Meaning that we don't make cheese. So don't be cheesy with the way that you communicate to people. Just be like, back it up. Just be relaxed around this thing. They've already bought from you, right? What's our real goal? What did I talk about? I talked about number 4, right? Is getting people to create community around the brand or the product that you've created. So the way that you grow to the point where you have community around it is that it's really in number 5, right? Number 5 is how you show up after the sale, how you show up to sort of guide them to be able to create community, how you show up in the fact that when you communicate, you know, listen, if you know you have the opportunity to get someone's birthday, listen, the only thing that we know, right? Everybody loves to celebrate a birthday. I don't know anybody who doesn't want somebody to say happy birthday to them. You be that person, right? So if you want to have a best buyer, as you see where I'm going with this, like, if you want to have a best buyer, you need to be the best cultivator of the best buyers. Get it? When it comes to things like, I don't know, if they have a family, do they have kids, right? What are the birthdays of their kids? Are they married? Are they in some kind of significant relationship? Is there a significant date that's associated with their relationship? Maybe it's an anniversary, right? Whatever it is, these are the things that you should be sort of extracting, not in this sort of overarching, like, fill out my, 45 questionnaire. And no, it's not how we do it, right? One of the things that we want to be able to do as humans, we want to feel, right, as if that we've been accepted. We want to feel that we matter. Let me share this with you guys. Let me tell you why I'm doing this. 8 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. on Saturday, Pacific Standard Time. We're here in Vegas. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because you matter. Like, if no one told you that you matter today, I'm Jay. I'm telling you that you matter. Why? Because you do. And I need you to adopt that very same sort of stance when it comes to how you cultivate the business of which that you and your family, like, your future is dependent on how well you learn these principles that I'm sharing with you. Okay. You need to dive in. You need to get this thing, because when you're cultivating your best buyers, they become your best buyer. You see, your best buyer is the one that they're asking you, hey, what's the next level up to your thing? How can I get more of your stuff? What can I do? Do you have it? If it's a product base, when are you guys going to come out with this color or that many of that? How can I get a bigger packet? How can I get the bundle? How can I? Come on. Look, these are real goosebumps. Can you guys see these? Can you see those? Okay. Like, understand the magic of being able to grow your best buyer audience. Why is this so important? I'm going to go back to this. Listen, people are counting on you to get it right. People actually want to be part of a community. People actually want to evangelize something in life. People actually, like, they need this. They need to have, like, the product and or the service that you're giving them. But more importantly, they need somebody who's going to be there for them as a resource. So this whole conversation today about the best buyer, it pivots back to you. Are you a phenomenal resource for your clients or your members or your customers or your subscribers, right? Like, are you that type of resource? If you are, show me. Say, type in the chat, yes, I'm a resource. Yes, I'm a resource. I want to see a bunch of people tell me right now that they're a resource. This is key. You see, the things that you do in life, today would be one of those days where you level up and say, yeah, I'm going to step into being the resource for all of my clients, people who I want to be my clients, all of my quote unquote prospects, right? I'm going to be a resource for them because I'm going to give them more than I expect from them. I'm going to say it one more. I'm going to give them more than I expect from them. Why? Because I want to always make sure that I'm setting the expectation that I'm doing this because I believe I'm being additive to humanity. This is what you should be doing. Like your whole life should be, how am I adding value to humanity? Even if your humanity is in your cubicle, even if your humanity is in your truck. See, if you're an AC repair guy and you're going from call to call and you're in your truck, you could still be so additive, so valuable to your community because why? You show up on time. You communicate ahead of time. You make sure that it's as convenient as possible for the individual who is your best buyer. If you're a plumber, your best buyer is what, that homeowner or that building owner, right? Make sure that they know that you're the resource for them. If they know this and you follow through, right? The great thing about where we are today, you can contact anybody, you can DM anybody. I don't care what platform you're on, you can get to people where before it was not that easy, right? Everybody's got a mobile phone. How many people have a phone in their house that's actually like tied to the wall? No one has it. Everybody's on mobile. If that's the case, then make it a point to actually get your clients and the individuals that you work with. You should have everybody's mobile number. You should categorize those numbers so you understand exactly, like when I reach out to them, I'm going to reach out to them about something that's topical, something that's associated with how they know me, right? Like, make sure you always stay close. As my grandmama used to say, boy, you better stay close to your knitting. And what she meant when she said that is like, know the things you do well and stay in that realm, right? People feel comfortable with the role of which that you originally reached out to them, right? So if today you are selling Mercedes-Benz and tomorrow you're selling on Etsy, you better have a great story. Okay, you better have a story between how you made that connection from being a sales rep for Mercedes-Benz and now you have an Etsy store. Maybe what you're telling them is that, hey, I'm a corporate side hustler, or I was at that time. And I actually had this Etsy business running at the same time. And I was able to transition. Now I'm a solopreneur and I'm eventually going to be an entrepreneur and a successful entrepreneur at that. This is how you can take a relationship which started as a best buyer in one product and or service, and then when you transition to something else, that individual is accepting of that transition. But what is that? That's you communicating ahead of time. You see, let's go back, and I think I mentioned that there's ways for you to communicate to people, and I think the way you should be communicating is whatever is the most natural, which is the most accepting for them to receive your communication. If you have to go down to the local Walmart or Target or Amazon and order a bunch of cards, right? Just a simple little thank you card and get 100 of those things. You should always have 100 on deck. Make sure you have a nice writing pen. And you just want to drop a little note to someone simply saying, hey, I just want to share with you, I really appreciate you having that conversation with me. Now you can easily send somebody a text. And I suggest you do that. You could easily send someone an email, and I suggest you do that. But if you want to take your game to the next level, if you really want to cultivate best buyers, buy those cards. Write something really simple. We don't care what your penmanship looks like. Like, take some time. You're not a doctor. Even if you are a doctor, most doctors, we can't read what you're writing. So you need to slow down. Okay. But make sure that the person who you're going to be sending this card to, make sure they can read your note. It matters. And so you're just going to put that thing on, slap a stamp on that thing and send it to the address. Oh, you don't have an address for the person? Right? Well, how about this? Remember I talked about the birthdays and the anniversaries? How about a way to actually send them something? Hey, I just want you to know that periodically, we may send something out and I would love to send you something, but I need your address to ensure that you get this. What's your address? They're going to give it to you and you're going to document it. And so now when you want to walk through the process of following through and following up to cultivate and build that massive best buyer pool that you've grown, right? Like it's out there. It's like you can go from a seedling and having one individual as your best buyer. You got to start somewhere, but your goal is to farm them, right? Where we're using that the notion of um, you know, planting the seed and sowing the seeds and nurturing that and growing it and giving it everything that it needs and being present, right? And every time this best buyer, sort of now this farm of best buyers that you've created, every time that you believe, you look around, you're like, wow, the things that I've been doing has been additive to their lives. Let me double down and do more. Because the more you get from them in terms of seeing that fact that you've grown this, the more you should give back again. You should continue to double down to ensure the following. Listen, I'm Jay Lawrence. This is the Insiders Only Daily Edge. And I really, as God is my witness, I want to make sure that every day that we give you such an advantage that you can cut through. Remember what I started this whole thing saying that we're going to eliminate the headwinds. We want you to be super aerodynamic. So the same wind becomes a tailwind. This is what we're doing with you today. Again, if you need us, it's insidersonly.club. We're here for you 24/7. Whatever you need, just ask questions. We'll give you answers, but we're not going to just give you answers. We're going to give you the answers that's filled with knowledge. Because remember, in closing, there's plenty of information out there, but you got to transition information into knowledge, because knowledge is knowing and knowing is monetizing. If you know how to do it, this is what you'll do. Again, Insiders Only Club, Daily Edge, Jay Lawrence. And with that, poof, he was done.